Stagville includes remnants of what used to be one of the largest plantation complexes in the state of North Carolina. Most preciously, Stagville preserves and protects a set of 4 original slave dwellings that still survive from the Bennehan and Cameron plantations. And at one point, over 900 men, women, and children were enslaved on this land. So our mission today is to research and teach about the African American experience here at Stagville. We focus on researching specific stories about individuals and families who experienced slavery here, and we also work closely with a community of descendants to document and teach about those families from emancipation in 1865 up till the present day. So we're here at Horton Grove. These buildings are those original slave dwellings. These houses were built by enslaved builders and carpenters and masons between 1850 and 1851. At any given time in the 1850s or the early 1860s, there probably would have been somewhere between 100 and 110 enslaved people living in community here in these buildings and working in fields and workshops that were all around this site. These buildings are sort of a living document of the skills and the knowledge and the expertise of the people who were held captive here. So we can see in these buildings stonework, which was led by enslaved stonemasons in the stone quarries here. We can see handmade bricks, which were made by enslaved brickmakers from red clay that was dug out of the ground, out of the land here. And we also see timber work and beautiful carpentry framing that was done by enslaved carpenters. So here at Stagville, we have guided tours Tuesday through Saturday, every day that we're open. We take visitors into these buildings here at Horton Grove and tour the land around them. We also take visitors to a massive barn on our site, which was built by these same enslaved craftsmen. And we also take visitors to one of the first houses of the Bennehan family, the enslaving family who owned this plantation. It's built on one of the highest points of land, whereas the slave dwellings where we are right now are down in a river valley. They're down in what is sometimes called the bottomlands or the lowlands. So we talk about these places as places where people were exposed to the dangers of this land. The land where we are here was more prone to flooding. It was more prone to massive swarms of mosquitoes carrying malaria. People here were more likely to be exposed to dirty or unclean water. And the families that enslaved people here tried to remove themselves from that environment and from that land by building their infrastructure up on high ground, but they forced more and more enslaved people to live in these low-lying lands because crops that were grown there were extremely profitable. So when we think about the harms of slavery here and when we think about even the legacies of slavery after 1865, we need to understand the way that people were harmed, not just by physical violence here, but by the land that they were forced to live in and the health consequences of that. We want visitors to be able to closely encounter the reality of the horrors that people experienced here, but we also want visitors to be able to connect with the stories of resistance and freedom fighting and African cultural retentions that were part of this place, and to see this place as a place of oppression, but also a place where people were continually fighting for freedom and pushing back against oppression here. A powerful example of that is that we have a set of carved forked sticks that were found hidden inside the walls of one of these houses. They were placed there by enslaved builders who probably saw them as part of a spiritual belief that putting objects like that into these buildings would actually help protect and give safekeeping to the families who they knew would be here. Enslaved people who were living here in these buildings were tightly preserving and protecting West African cultural retentions. We know that families here were passing on and protecting West African spiritual beliefs and traditions, cooking practices, food traditions, and we think about that as part of the story of resistance of this place.